Hi everyone, and welcome to the Ari Writer channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to be talking about Feng Shui, which is, I believe, the proper pronunciation, but according to my research, you can actually call it Feng Shui, according to some pronunciations in different parts of the world. So either way works. Quite interesting how that works, but I believe that Feng Shui is the more formal way to say it and does not follow the phonetic spelling. So, and it's a very interesting concept that allows us to basically help organize not only our dwellings where we live, but ourselves as well in some ways. And I think that feng shui is a really important concept to understand. There are 5 main principles. Basically, the first one is clearing things up. So clearing out clutter. This allows for more positive energy flow according to what feng shui is described as and what it's supposed to do, and chakras and different elements and things like that. Next is, of course, incorporating the 5 elements, speaking of which happen to be wood, oddly enough, fire, earth, water, and metal. Very odd as well with the wood and metal inclusion. Fire, earth, water are elements that we see very often, but this time water is actually characterized as either gray or blue, I believe. So, and there are more than just 5 colors. On some of the charts that I'm looking at, I see that wood is considered green. Fire, of course, is red. Earth is yellow in this case. Metal is white and silver, and then water is like gray and blue. So, but sometimes more considered gray. And there's a lot of different basically color schemes and ways that things are arranged with these elements. So these elements are part of basically, let me see if I got this right, 8 major sections of the house, and then the 9th one would actually be the center of the house. So the center is characterized as yellow, for example. And so very, very interesting how all of that works. And then there's other colors such as pink and purple that are not necessarily seen in the elemental chart, but they all share different characterizations. The third principle of feng shui is arranging furniture for optimal energy workflow. So you'll want to basically make sure that your furniture is oriented in certain ways. You don't want your bed necessarily to be directly in front of a door, but you do want to be able to kind of face a door indirectly. So if the doorway basically is where my hand is right here, you'd want to be able to basically not face it dead on, but kind of have your bed, tilted to the side of it. Maybe the entryway is coming, parallel to this monitor right here. So you basically not want to be directly in front of it. You just want to be to the side of it here or here, or on the wall here or here with the bed facing outward. You don't want your bed to be backwards to the door, basically. Little things like that, I think, help with subconscious energy and feelings. So for example, to put your bed right in front of a door, you could imagine that maybe you're vulnerable because someone could maybe take the door down and immediately have access to you, or maybe they could shoot something through the door, such as, with a gun, for example. So, little things like that, if you're able to avoid that scenario and put yourself in safer spots, I think that that's part of what feng shui is talking about. It's not just, foo-foo energy. It's actually talking about some practical things that can help a lot. This also applies to where water is supposed to flow, for example, and where certain parts of your life are supposed to be next to other parts, for example. So to basically keep children away from certain things, because children is a part of the, bagua. The bagua is actually this octagonal kind of symbol that represents how we're supposed to keep certain parts of our lives, close to certain things and other things in the opposite state. So children should be next to loving relationships and helpful people, for example. And of course, everything borders along health, which is right in the center. So, and then there's all these little very interesting charts here that basically show and describe different examples of things. So, I mean, for example, in wealth and abundance, you're basically supposed to display certain objects that are purple, red, gold, and blue, have a lot of colors here. This is where you can have a lot of collectible items in this part of the house, if you have a large enough house to do this, of course. But you can section off rooms and do the same thing. You don't need to have, 8 different rooms. You can have, certain sections and keep it generalized, and there's a little bit of overlap in each one. So, very interesting. The actual entrance of the house, as you can see by these charts up here, let me see, I got the orientation right there. The charts are basically saying that your career and work should be at the entrance of a house, next to helpful people and travel and knowledge and spirituality. And then the more deeper, more personal things are deeper within the house, and that's why wealth and abundance is on the opposite side of where the front entrance is, to kind of keep it safe in a way. And then things like love and relationships and more intimate things are kept farther away from the entrance of a house, so that when people see you, they see you at your best and maybe not necessarily, at your worst when it comes to having personal issues, for example. So there's a lot of a lot of analogies we can take with that kind of information. So, but basically, yeah, you can see here that the things like fame and reputation, love and marriage, children and creativity, travel and helpful people, work and career, growth and knowledge, family and core health, and power and wealth are represented in this chart, and then health and well-being is right in the center. So very interesting, very, very interesting how feng shui works, and I urge you guys to do more research into it. See if you, for example, have mirrors in certain parts of the house that maybe are reflecting or showing us in ways that maybe could make us feel uncomfortable in a very natural and intrinsic way, but not something that's necessarily rational or, thought of. These little things just could be happening and maybe we have no idea. So I also wanted to give my own personal situation with feng shui, and when it comes to organization in general, there's some principles that I follow personally, and I wanted to know if you guys felt similarly sometimes when it comes to organizing things or cleaning an area, for example. For me, I like to have a bit of a space or a gap between objects. I don't like objects to touch too much on the sides, because I think that friction can make them get destroyed more easily or get tarnished a bit faster. So whenever I organize things, I basically space them out. So I basically have things, so you can see back here and on the table back here, I basically like to organize things in a very methodical way, keep certain things close to each other. The table behind me is more of an art piece, but here, my desk over here, everything is there to give, a certain flow for things. And also, I wanted to show this book, because this book got me into learning about, feng shui, and it's a very interesting book, so just wanted to let you guys know. The author is David Daniel Kennedy, and there's a foreword by Professor Lin Yun. This book, I believe, was published in 1998, so it's a bit of an older one. So yeah, just wanted to share that with you all, and I think that's it for me when it comes to feng shui. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day or evening.